Welcome back to Archaeology After Dark, everyone. I am your fabulous host, Daniel Rhodes. My guest today is J.R. Ray. Jay, thanks for joining me.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am an archaeologist who's currently stationed in California. I've worked in multiple states, but I specialize in death practices, specifically non-Western death practices.
Okay, that's fascinating, and we definitely need to talk about that later. So what we're talking about today is a lot of people ask me this question, or they send messages to the Archaeological Society about this question. What should I look
Mhm.
for when I'm looking for a job as an archaeologist? So, Jay, what's the first thing you look for in a job?
The first thing I look for when I'm looking at CRM positions or archaeology positions, cultural resource management for people who are new and don't understand what CRM means. The first thing that I look for is whether there's a guarantee in hours and whether it's on call or not. Now, personally, I do work on call, but I work for three different companies as an on call. So I do keep my schedule stacked as much as possible. But a lot of the starting positions are going to be on call. And if they guarantee hours, that's better than ones that obviously just tell you that it's on call.
So, for those who don't know, what does on call actually mean?
On call means that you are not guaranteed hours. You're not a full time, you're not a part time or anything like that. If they have work, they can offer it to you and you can accept it. If you're unavailable, you're just unavailable. It literally just means if there's work and it's been offered to you, that's the work that's there.
So, for those of you who are getting ready to start job hunting as an archaeologist or are thinking about it, it's really rare that you will be hired on in a full-time position. You'll be hired
Mhm.
on in probably a project to project basis. So, when
Mhm.
that project ends, that's it, unless the person in charge actually invites you to stay on for another project.
Yeah. Which is why I think it is really important that if you're looking for jobs and everything, not to be dissuaded by on call, because on call means that you are still on the payroll for that company, even after that project ends.
Yeah. So unless you are like absolutely terminated, which it happens, you make mistakes, people make mistakes, world stops turning. For those of you who were in CRM during COVID, you know what it's like for someone just to be like,
Yeah.
hey, the world has stopped turning, everyone go home. It's very
Oh,
tragic,
yeah,
very sad.
definitely.
So, what is a green flag for you when you're looking at different companies? Like, what is something you should always look for?
Green flag for me, and it doesn't apply to every company, but at least for me personally, a green flag for me is when a company is described as an international company and they have areas in different countries, like actually active offices in different countries, simply because that proves that there is room for growth, and usually that they will assist you with other things like tuition help or getting benefits even as an on-call.
And also, it's the main reason we get into being archaeologists, aside from the money, is so that we can see the world.
Of course,
The
the
vast,
travel is always nice.
the vast fortune we can acquire for being an
Of course.
archaeologist.
Of course. Yes, and all the motels I've stayed in.
Yeah, that's not something you'll see in a company brochure. Sign up for us, and we'll show you the gorgeous Motel 6.
No, luckily, if you choose the right company, they'll put you in a Best Western or a Best Western Plus, and those aren't too bad. Sometimes you get breakfast out of those.
Yeah, see the sights and the Motel 6 as you work in the woods. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But,
Oh yeah.
okay, so if that was actually like the sales pitch for being an archaeologist, no one would do it.
That's so true. That is so true. Um, I think though, if you're gonna do a sales pitch for archaeology, you should always include the starting point. Obviously, if you're going into CRM, that can totally be something that you're just going to do, and you will, still experience archaeology, still do a lot of stuff. But it is also a good stepping stone into what you do. It's a being an on-call CRM or archaeologist is really good when you're still going through education.
Yeah, so that's going to be a green flag for me. So if you're working for a company and they're actively encouraging you to continue your education
Mhm.
while keeping you on the payroll, I
Yep.
think that's a plus. That's
Oh
my
yeah. All of my companies encouraged me with my master's, which I just did my defense on Monday, which is very exciting. Um, and then I know, very exciting. But then also my main company that keeps me booked probably 48 to 70 hours a week. They have encouraged me to go on to my PhD like I was planning to because they do tuition assistance. And that's a really good sign.
So yeah, not every company is going to offer tuition
Mhm.
assistance, but that doesn't mean they're not encouraging you in other ways. Like if they're
Of
keeping
course.
you on the payroll while encouraging you to stay in graduate school, undergrad, whatever, that's I feel like that's really good for the working environment that they're wanting you to
Mhm.
be as healthy as you can be.
Yes, exactly. That's always really nice.
Yeah. And plus, you don't want someone saying, "Oh, you're going back to school, so you can't work here anymore." That's really trash.
Yeah, you really don't want that. I was told that wherever I picked my PhD to be from, that they would help me in looking for an office to transfer to, so I could still do work in that area, which is something that you will not get at every company. I got very lucky with that one, especially since as an aspiring Egyptologist and someone who specializes in non-Western death practices, that does kind of limit my American options. So when I said, "Oh, well, I'm looking at the University of Manchester," they were like, "We have a Manchester office." And I was like, "Oh, great. Fantastic. That's good to know." Keep my job while I'm over there.
But on like the other side of that, you'll talk to people. They're like, "The University of what now? Is that on this continent? Is that even in this region?"
Yep. Yeah, no, you definitely will do that. One of my companies is entirely local. They only work in 3 counties. And they're great because you can say, "Hey, I have a free day from my other company," and they go, "I got you. I got hours for you." They're a great filler, and I love them so much. But when I told them, I was like, "Yeah, for a PhD, I'm looking at the University of Manchester and Leeds University." They were like, "I don't know where that is," and I was like, "It's in England and stuff." And they're like, "Oh, that's far. It's like an 11-hour plane ride." I'm like, "Yes, it is."
That's a weirdly specific number.
Yeah, I was like, "Did you Google that?" I was like, "Is that what's going on here?" Trying to figure out how long it would take me to get home.
Like they want to keep you on call, but wondering if it's like inconvenient for you. Like, hey, listen, so I know
I
it's an
got
11
something
hour plane ride
tomorrow.
and it's short notice, but if you could come in today, that would be great.
It's just wondering if you'll be able to make it for a 4-hour shift on Wednesday.
And you're like, it's an 11-hour plane ride, and they're like, and
Yeah, they're like, "Well, you get 1 hour commute." So,
so
yeah.
those are the green flags. What to you is a red flag? I mean, without
Oh my God.
dragging any specific company into anything,
Oh, of
what is a
course.
red flag
Yeah.
to you?
And I mean, I personally don't name companies when I'm talking about it anyway, so, but I could. A red flag for me when it comes to companies is when they hire you and don't immediately have a project that they want you on. Like they don't have a project where after you're finished with your training, they're going to stick you on it. Um, and that is a red flag. Usually, it's one of my questions when I'm being interviewed and be like, "Is there an immediate project that you're looking for?" And then you want to make a note of that. I think another one is if they're asking for an undergrad degree, but they're trying to pay you less than $20 an hour. Um, and as someone who is finishing up their masters and stuff, I had an offer a couple months ago for 21 an hour with no guaranteed hours. Um, so, you kind of just a little bit common sense, but also just kind of remembering like they got to be bringing you on for a reason. Make sure you're not just there so they can write it off on taxes as looking for people in the position because companies will do that.
Yeah, that's a red flag for me also. Like if
Yes.
they're evasive on project details, like they're not
Mhm.
exactly telling you everything you need to know so you can
Yeah.
properly prepare, or if you feel like you need to like look for other options, then that's a red flag for me.
Yeah. Obviously, as someone who works for three companies, I always encourage people to work for multiple companies. There will be dry spells with certain companies and there will be dry spells with others. Some are seasonal. I have one company that I only work for 3 months out of the year. It's always summer, and that's just because I can get, 9-day, 16-hour rotations, like no problem during that time. But the rest of the year, I don't work for them. But it's important, like I was brought on with that knowledge. They hired me with the knowledge that I would be there for a long project in the summer, and then I was allowed to work with other companies the rest of the time. They were very open about it, and that's the only reason that I was comfortable with it. But I've had a company where I was brought on. The project I was put on, they told me the first one was only going to be 3 days, and then I would be put on other projects. I worked a total of 28 hours for that company, or I believe it was about 28 hours, like total actual work, not including travel. And that I was with them for a year.
Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's really rough because we would have work days, but they weren't even 8-hour days. And then it was just this long period of time where they weren't giving me any work because I had classes and they didn't work on Friday through Monday or whatever it was. And it was just it was such a big mix. And then when I finally did get work, it was like, here's 2 days of work, and then I don't have anything else for you. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, well, the archaeology section of this company is getting streamlined. And you're like, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's a red flag for me when people start using words like streamlined, and I'm like, oh,
Streamlined.
so you're just laying people off. Okay.
Yeah. If you hear streamlined or obviously downsized and everything, or you hear, well, we have a lot of people on staff, you are not being prioritized and you might get cut. That's just what it is. And it's always the companies that you go, it's always like one of those companies where you're like, I was settling for the amount you wanted to pay me. Like you're like kind of sitting there like, okay, that's great. I think I was making 23 at that company with my undergrad. So
And then you're like, so one of us is being paid to be here, and since it isn't me, I'm gonna go ahead and go.
yeah, I was already looking for other companies that entire year. Started with another company like 3 months before that one ended. That company paid me, gosh, I think $1 more and stuff, and I did, oh, probably total 300 hours with them, which sounds like a lot when you hear it, but when you look at it as an archaeologist, you go, that's not even enough for a certification.
But we have to circle back to the point that we get into this line of work for the money. It's all
Oh, of
about the
course.
money, the
Oh, of
the
course.
big stacks of money.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually hiding it behind my screen. No.
So what Jay is failing to mention is that she has a Scrooge McDuck-esque room behind the pyramids.
Yes. Yep. That's what the pyramids are for, is hiding wealth. It's That's not true. Don't dig in the pyramids. I'm
Yeah,
looking to
don't do that
you.
because
Don't. I will find you. I personally will find you.
that could be construed as an act of war. So please don't do that.
Not could be. That will be.
So please don't do that. Don't do
Please
that.
don't. We're gonna have a problem. And anyone who says I told you to, I will be the one to arrest you.
Oh, this is the real reason we get into archaeology, so we can do stuff like that.
right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh man.
Oh, so what's another green flag for you?
Another green flag. Oh, this is the one that always surprises people. If you have heard it mentioned in from your colleagues and in your classes prior to applying, um, I've noticed that because I applied to 100 plus CRM companies, including ones in states I've never been in, just because I needed a job and stuff. And but the ones that I actually got hired at and that I actually liked were talked about by colleagues and course mates and other archaeologists and stuff. Um, like always beforehand, they were like, "Oh, you have to look into this one. Oh my gosh, you have to look into this one. You have to look into this one." And one of them I did apply to a couple times, and then um, I didn't hear anything for a couple of years, and it was one of those where people were like, "Oh, you gotta apply to this one. This one they treat people great." And now it's my main company because as soon as I got in, they flew me out to East Texas and Louisiana for 14-hour days. So it was immediate work and stuff. And I have not stopped working since. I only took off like 2 weeks for Christmas and New Year's, and it's not even takeoff. Like, so another green flag is as long as you've heard other archaeologists had a good experience with this company.
Yeah, the best experiences I've had have been with companies that, they are good enough to the people who work there that they actually want to stay there project after project. Like
Yes. Oh my
we're
gosh,
we're not going to lie
absolutely.
about this. Archaeology is probably one of the most demanding jobs a person can have, like physically,
Absolutely.
mentally. It is very demanding. But if
It's a lot.
but if the company maintains a safe enough and healthy enough environment that people actually want to stay there, that is like the greenest of flags to me.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. My coworkers are a heavy mix. My supervisor's only been there for 18 months, but all of my field coworkers have been there for years. And that was like an instant green flag to me. It was like, yeah, okay, the supervisors, the planners and everything, the ones that stay in offices or work from home and everything. Yeah, they're new, but they know what they're doing. But also everyone that I work with in the field has been there for years. And that's a big deal. When you're in the field and you've worked with a company for years, you go, wow, they really take care of you.
Yeah, like the company I worked for, we were so tight knit. Somebody actually brought a cake out from somewhere I didn't. I questioned where they actually got the cake from because we were in probably one of the most remote places I'd ever seen. But they were like, "Yeah,
Yep.
it's so and so's birthday." I'm like, "Okay, the fact that you actually know that it's somebody's birthday out here is fantastic, and I love that."
Oh, oh,
Again, where did you
exactly.
get this cake from?
Yeah. Last year, let's see here. It was so last year, my birthday is right around the time when it's usually Father's Day or around Father's Day. And twice in my life it's been on Father's Day. So last year was one of those years. So we celebrated my birthday with my family, and then it was Father's Day. And on Father's Day, I was driving up to Mojave to do work the next day, which happens a lot. And I got up there, and one of my coworkers goes, "Hey, it's your birthday." And I was like, "No, my birthday was yesterday." And he goes, "No, you celebrated your birthday yesterday. Today's your birthday." I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, it is." There's only a McDonald's or a Denny's to eat out at in Mojave, and we all went to the Denny's because they were like, "It's your birthday," and I was like, "We work at 4 a.m." and they're like, "It's your birthday," and I was like, "Yeah, I know," and they were like, You've made it. It's your birthday." And I'm like, "Thanks, guys. We have work tomorrow."
Okay, that's another thing that I don't think people take into account when they start looking for jobs as archaeologists is how much time you will actually spend driving and or
Oh
traveling.
my gosh. I had a 1 day rotation in Bridgeport, California. If you don't know where Bridgeport is, that makes sense. It's an hour away from Mammoth Lakes, and it has a population of about 150 to the point where the one bus driver also runs the only hotel and drives all of the kids the 30 miles to the school. It is so small. I was staying in that hotel. It took me 9 hours to drive up there because I had to. We worked one 10-hour day, and after the 10-hour day, I drove home same day because my hotel stay was for one night. That was the whole rotation.
So yeah, always pick the scenic route if you have time to
Yeah.
enjoy the drive a little more. And
If they, yeah.
make sure you're in a position to pick the music, or it will be a very, very long drive. And if
Yeah.
someone else
Luckily,
picks the music, do not argue with the person picking the music.
luckily it was just me driving alone, luckily. But make sure, oh, that's the other big thing. If you're going into CRM, make sure you ask how much is budgeted for your drive and make it clear how long you need and overshoot because it will take you longer. You're going to
Yeah.
stop for gas and you're going to have to use the bathroom and you're going to get hungry. Okay. And you need to get paid for all of that. Trust me.
Yeah, that's another green flag for me is when people encourage you to bring snacks or plan ahead. Like they insist that you take time to
Yeah.
plan ahead, meaning they are planning ahead also. A red flag is when somebody gives you like a moment's notice and they're like, "Hey, so we need you to be here this
Yeah.
afternoon." And I'm like, so it's clear I was a last minute thought, but whatever.
Yeah. And obviously that doesn't apply if you've been at the company for a long time. Like my local company, every now and then I get a call at like 4 a.m. and she's like, "Hey, this person woke up throwing up, but I know you know where this is, and I know it's an hour away from you. Like, can you jump in here at the 7 a.m. start?" But I'm like, "Okay, you know what? It's one day. I can do it." It doesn't happen often, but it might.
Yeah. And then you're like, "Do I have time to shower or can I just go as is?"
Yeah, I'm like sitting here like driving up to LA. I wonder if she's going to be upset if I stop for breakfast. And so I usually, some supervisors you can do this. Do not do this with every supervisor. But I texted her and I was like, "Do I have time to stop for breakfast?" And she was like, "If you get up there by 10, I'll be happy." I was like, "Breakfast time."
Okay, so this is something I learned in the past like 3 years that if
Mhm.
your field site has a physical address in a city, DoorDash can bring stuff to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
I am a big fan of that now.
Yeah, no, that's definitely really nice. And if you're going to be using it, make sure you sign up and get your points for
Yes.
things.
Oh God,
That
yeah.
is a big deal. That is my big thing. And I always tell people if you have a company card or someone is booking something for you or anything like that where you can do it, get your miles, get your points for everything. If you have
Yes.
a per diem for food, make sure that you have the reward system for every food place that you eat at. Your gas mileage, your points, if you're flying, if you're staying in hotels, stack it up.
And also keep your receipts because all these
Yes,
things count as work expenses when you file your taxes.
that's true.
I do not
That's
want
a
my
really big deal.
fellow archaeologists being audited and then thrown in jail.
Yeah, no. And if you're in California, if you happen to be watching this and you're in California, last year they just did this thing where your overtime is not taxable. Um, so
I like that.
yeah, so make sure that if before tax season and everything, do it at the start of January. Request all of your timesheets from your company for the last year because they can do that. Don't let them tell you that they can't, and they will send them to you as a PDF, and you can send those right to your tax preparer.
Yes. So make sure you save documents. Make sure you have them like I understand that people don't like keeping paper copies of things, but I would highly suggest that you
Oh,
keep paper copies of everything.
I've got a binder. Like you guys should have a binder. You can't see my binder because it's white.
But
But I've
yes,
got a physical
keep
binder. It's
all
important.
your paperwork.
A little bit.
Yeah, just
But
keep what?
no, no, no. I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, so yeah, I know people hate keeping paperwork. It clogs up your desk, but do it. You'll thank yourself and us for this
You
advice.
will. And I hope you send a thank you to Daniel and I. No, I'm kidding. We want to hear that you saved money.
Yes, that is so we do have an email address for the Archaeological Society now. You can send your fan mail to us or your
There you
or your thank you cards or your death threats, whatever you want to send to us, you can.
I also have an email if you decide I don't just want to send death threats to the society. You can send them to me too. I'll frame them. I'll put them right over here. I'll enjoy having that on my wall.
Oh, we could totally do that as a Christmas party. Like, so here is our top 10 hate mail for the year.
Oh my gosh. My favorite one will get framed in my future office.
I'm like,
You'll be
for
immortalized.
yes, whoever comes up with the most creative way to kill it will get its face on the wall.
The most, you know what? I'll go one further. The most creative way to preserve us archaeologically.
Ooh. See,
That one will get put on the wall.
so I did an episode on death practices, and I went down the rabbit hole on that because I knew absolutely
Mhm.
nothing other than put someone in a box or cremate them.
Yep.
Uh,
There are many different ways.
in one case, I heard about someone being cremated and then fired out of a cannon, which
Yep.
that's what I want now.
Those are some cool ones.
Yeah, my favorite one is being put in like a biodegradable sack, and then a tree goes in with you, and it
Yeah,
becomes a fruit tree. And I'm like, yes,
I love those. I
my rotting
want
corpse will nurture this tree, so other people can have fruit made from my rotting corpse.
exactly. I want my ashes compressed into a precious gem, and then put into a dagger because I'm crazy,
Ooh, okay,
and I want this so I can pass it down.
okay. I kind of want that, and also the other one I loved is I saw a meme that said I want to donate to my body to science so someone else can take care of it instead of me.
I like that one. I
Yeah,
like
I
that one a
like that.
lot.
I like that one a lot. I'm like, okay, that's fair.
On just kind of a tangent from that one on that topic, I have noticed, a lot of people seem to disagree with me when I say that human remains shouldn't be in museums unless they're donated and everything. If you are donating your body to a museum, that is super cool, and I entirely respect that. Okay, I think I've had a couple friends who said, "Well, I want people to be able to study this stuff, but I agree that those people didn't consent, so I consent. I want my body in a museum," and I'm like, you know what? I respect it. That one I'm okay with.
Yeah, and then 100 years from now, we have the issue of someone trying to repatriate my remains to my grandchildren or something, and I'm just like, oh,
Which is why I'm always like, dude, put it in your will if you want it. Stick it in your will.
yeah, I don't
Paper
want some,
copies.
I don't want someone coming after a natural history museum for my body 100 years from now.
Yeah.
That
If
sounds
I
awful.
sent my, if I sent my remains to a museum and you're trying to give it back, buddy, I wanted it there. What
Yeah,
are they gonna do with it?
I'm like, yes, I have become a teaching tool. Yes, I love that.
You're like, fantastic.
And then they're like the grad students who come in and like, oh, this guy didn't take care of himself. Look at all these unhealed fractures.
they're gonna look at they're gonna look at mine and they're gonna be like, what happened? Like, were you why weren't you eating? And I'm gonna go, because I make archaeologist money.
Like they're just like examining my remains and they're like, oh, this guy spent a lot of time hunched over.
They're gonna see mine and they're just gonna go, was this a child? This is a very small set of remains. They're gonna be like, what did this child do to end up in the museum?
Like, yep, that is definitely a skeleton with some issues.
There's something going on with this person. We're gonna figure it out.
Like they're like, wow, those teeth are awful.
Okay, as someone who has had orthodontic work twice, I had braces and then stuff. My teeth moved afterward, so I don't want any archaeologists in the future having a comment about my dental history. I worked hard, okay? I don't want them to be like, this person couldn't afford braces. I had them twice, okay? They just moved, and now I like my little mouse teeth, okay? So you're gonna leave me alone. I tried.
Oh, oh my God. Oh, okay. Now this is probably the biggest, greenest of flags, like an emerald flag. Like
Let's do it.
if Ireland could be a flag, it would be the greenest of flags. Have
As a Scottish
fun
person,
with being an archaeologist. If you're not having fun, that is a red flag, and you definitely need
that
to
is,
start asking
oh
questions.
my gosh, that is so true. And we don't mean like, oh my gosh, I had one bad day because we found eight things. We absolutely mean if you do not consistently think, I could send this meme to my coworker. Like you like genuinely, if you are not having fun discussing archaeology or something having to do archaeology or doing archaeology, you that is the biggest red flag and someone is putting way too much stress on you.
Yeah, like if it's like a one bad day a week, two bad days a week, those happen. Like that's
Those
going to come
happen.
with the job. But if you're having like weeks of bad times and you are like, wow,
Yeah.
this is horrible, you really need to start asking yourself the hard questions. Like, is this
Yeah.
something I really want to be doing? Why does my knee hurt so much? And things like that.
I Yeah, in my fieldwork course in my undergrad, we probably lost six people during it just because they were like, "Oh, I don't really like this." But I would like to point out, we weren't even really getting into it. We were doing test pits, and we were about 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. You know, the little test levels that you do. It's a 1 meter by 1 meter square, and we're just going down in San Dimas, which is a residential area. It was a private residence that they allowed us to do that on. And within weeks, we lost like six of them because they were like, I can't do this over and over again. And you're like, well, okay, that's fine. You don't need to be doing it. And I regret to inform you that this is probably the easiest archaeology you're going to have.
Yeah, and
But,
just because
you know,
you
you
aren't
know pretty
having
quickly.
a good time in the field doesn't mean you have to stop being an archaeologist. You can
Of
be
course.
like a lab tech or something too. Like you can be an
Yeah.
inside archaeologist. You don't have to
Yes.
be out there going one on one with the elements if you don't want to.
There's a reason that we've got armchair archaeology and field archaeology and desk archaeology. Okay, you can do archaeology at different levels. That's totally fine. Some people who have ADHD like me and everything need to be outside moving constantly.
No, there was just one day we were outside. I was with like my little clique of people. We were just like breaking off for lunch or out for lunch or something. And all of us just immediately stopped our conversation when a helicopter flew over us. And we were like, yeah. And we became all about that helicopter for like 5 minutes.
That's literally what happens and everything. I'm on a project in Malibu right now for the Palisades fires, and for all those homes. And they have a lot of like the Coast Guard flying over, and then we're right next to LAX. And every single time, the construction workers and the archaeologists are like airplane. Like you like look up at it, and you're like, we're supposed to be digging a hole, but every single time you're like airplane.
We started playing Fortunate Son Credence anytime a helicopter went over.
We play closing time for the last half hour of every workday.
Okay, that's fantastic. And I love that as a vibe.
It's just over and over again. And I only mildly feel bad for the residents that are still there. And that's only because they are so nice to us about being like, let us know if you guys need ice or, you have to use the restrooms, even though we have restrooms and we have ice and everything. They're very nice to us because we're trying to help the homes. I, I can't even bring myself to feel bad that they have to hear it for half an hour at the end of every day of work after a whole day of construction sounds.
Okay, this is also a green flag for me is when the community takes an interest in what you're doing as an archaeologist.
Yes.
Like having a complete stranger's support, while it seems kind of off-putting at first,
Mhm.
when a community takes interest in their own history, that means they're going to take care of the site after you
Yes.
leave because you won't be there
Exactly.
forever.
Exactly.
So we've had some fun. We've had a lot of fun. Um, So we like to close out the episodes with career advice. So Jay, for people who are interested in becoming archaeologists, assuming they're still interested in being archaeologists after.
Right. For the riches. It's for the
Yeah,
riches, Daniel.
yeah, it's for the riches. Yeah, that's 100% what it is. What would you recommend for people? Yeah,
My
everybody has that
recommendation.
sigh when I ask this question.
I know. Well, I'm trying to, everyone's, you always hear something. So I'm going to say pick your niche. If you think it's weird, you're probably not the only one who's done it. So if if for advice for archaeology, and it's going to sound weird, no matter how exact something is that you want to study, do it. Okay? Because I promise you, someone's going to want it and someone's going to want that work. Okay? And so if you have something weird, if you want it and everything, study that thing, become the expert on it, and I promise that's going to be what furthers you. A lot of times, the work that I've gotten is because I'm an osteoarchaeologist who specializes in non-Western death practices. It's very specific. I have to tell people, yeah, mummification and secondary Cantonese burials and stuff like that. Um, the amount of exhumations I worked on for secondary Cantonese burials in LA is because of that. There will be work for it. It doesn't matter how, if you think, oh, but I only specialize in like 3 Roman coins. Okay, but no one else does. So do it.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing about that is when you go to conferences, you automatically get inducted to that clique of people like,
Yes.
oh, you're one of the bone people now. Oh, you're one of the ceramic
Yes.
people now.
Exactly. It's and like let's just say playing onto the coins and everything. It's not just people who specialize in metal that want to talk to you. It's the Romanology people. It's the ancient world archaeologists. It's the historians that have only read the Odyssey for some reason. Like it's like it's so many groups and they all want to talk to you about your thing and they want to bring you in because you know what you like studying and you know what you study. I get in with the bone people and the Egyptologists, and occasionally with groups of Cantonese families that want to hear how I do it and stuff like that. Like it's a heavy mix, and it's just it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of something I wish conferences did now. Like when you go register for something, they would ask like,
Mhm.
so what is your thing? What are you into?
What's your thing? Yeah, exactly.
And it gives you like this drop down menu of like 1,000 things that you could be
Oh my
into.
gosh, which I think would be really smart. They could organize people like that. I've had archaeologists who were like, what's your overarching thing? Like, what's your thing? And I'm like, oh well, what's your thing? They're like, I do lithics, and they're like, what's your thing? Death, and they're like, oh, do you mean like you study it, or do you mean physically? And I was like, no, the stuff, the actual stuff. And they're like, oh, and then usually you get the question, how many remains have you worked with? And I'm like, I just broke 330 actually. Thanks for asking. And they're like, oh, my buddy works in death, and you're like, great, where's your buddy? Like, is he my buddy now? Like,
So
you
yeah,
find your
when
people.
you go to conferences, please don't tell people your thing is death. Like if you have to tell people that, be specific or you
Exactly.
you will
If
not
you're
become popular. They're gonna
No,
just assume
luckily,
that like I'm into dying things, like
yeah,
making them
that's
dead.
yeah. If you're going to an environmental conference, don't say that. If you're going to an archaeological conference, they'll probably ask what kind.
And then you're like the kind I call.
You go off the record. Have you heard of? No, I'm kidding.
Like, so without you asking any follow-up questions, what's the best way to get rid of human remains?
Personal opinion or professional? It's in practice or in theory.
Now, see, that's the best part about the conferences. They ask follow-up questions like that without
I
reading
love
anything
that.
sinister into it.
Oh, that is the best part is that everyone does take it at face value in these conferences. If you are worried about being misunderstood, someone's going to ask what you mean. Genuinely. every single time. I have someone where I they came in the middle of a conversation, and the last part of the conversation they heard me say, "Man, I love bones," like that, and they were like human bones, and I was like, "Yeah, they're really interesting." And then they looked at me, and I forgot I was at a historical society conference, and they went, "Are you primarily an archaeologist?" And I went, "Yeah, why?" Like that and stuff, and they were like, "Okay, because you're at a history conference." And, yeah, I'm a historian. And they're like, okay, just to clarify. And I was like, oh, yes. From an archaeological standpoint, I love bones. From a history standpoint, I specialize in Eleanor of Aquitaine. It's very different. Um, but yeah, no, find your niche. I promise, no matter how specific you get, you'll find your people.
And that's the thing about archaeology is everyone is your people, whether it's like the niche people or just people in general.
Sure.
Archaeologists everywhere have the same things to complain about. Yes, our knees hurt. Yes, our back hurts. Everyone can relate to that.
No, I don't study dinosaurs.
No, I mean, as fun as
Every
studying dinosaurs are, we don't get paid for that. We do that as a hobby.
I know I like had to tell someone and everything like I'm an archaeologist first, but I promise I still like dinosaurs. Like this is not my thing.
My
Oh
pencil
wait,
holder is a
there we go.
T-Rex head that I printed.
Oh, this was my pencil holder, so I can't really. Oh, is it gonna show it? There we go.
Oh, there it is. Okay,
So
that's incredibly cool.
thank you. It's from Amazon. But yeah, like find
So,
your niche.
yeah. So that's about all the time we have. I feel like we've gotten a really solid conversation out of this.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Yes.
Take care and thank you so much for tuning in and supporting this wonderful program so that I can continue to goof off with people I enjoy talking
Thanks, guys.
to.